Hi, my name is Kelsey Sidwell. I'm going to be telling a story from my childhood growing up, particularly my teen years, and I'm titling this story One Summer Night. My sister and I grew up in Ohio, and Ohio in the summer is very humid and very warm. And we were on summer break. We had been going around doing the typical teenager things, going to parties, getting into trouble, the usual. But that night, we were at home just watching some late night TV. So, my parents' house overlooks the yard, the walkway to the back porch, and the back porch itself. And on the back porch, there was a motion detecting floodlight that would illuminate whenever it detected any kind of motion. And this was great because typically it was used for us, and we needed it. My parents lived out in the country. There was no one else around. They were surrounded on three sides by the woods, so it was very dark out there. So we needed that motion detector light. We needed it when we came home at night. We would get out of the car, and we need some way to get up to the back porch without breaking every bone in our body. So it was helpful. My dad installed it when we were kids. However, the only thing with a motion detector light is that it caught every kind of motion. So this could include any old possum that would come wandering through that area of the yard and set off the motion detector. We were actually very used to seeing the motion detector light go off, looking out the window, and seeing a giant fat raccoon sitting in the birdseed feeder, gobbling up all of the birdseed it could in the middle of the night. But that night, there wasn't a lot of motion. My sister and I watched our TV, and we snacked on just about anything we could find in the pantry. But then, all of a sudden, the light did go off, which was kind of strange. We looked at each other, and we got up and looked out the window. There was nothing there. I looked at my sister. Well, whatever it was, it's probably run away by now. It's not that big of a deal, I told her. And we sat back down and went back to watching our TV. About 20 seconds later, we heard a noise. It sounded like somebody was tapping at the window. But that couldn't be right. We looked at each other again and got up and looked out the window. The light was still on, and there was still nothing there. But as my sister turned back to look at me, she noticed something out on the back porch, and she stared. "What?" I said, and turned around. There on the back porch was a woman who was standing with her face pressed up against the glass, looking in at us and tapping on the window. When she noticed us looking, she smiled and pointed towards the door. "I'm not answering the door," my sister said. So I got up, I walked through the kitchen, through the entryway, and out to the door. And I opened it just a crack, and the woman was there smiling. "Hi, my name is Tammy, and I'm in your mom's garden club, and I was just passing through the area, and I realized that I have this book that I borrowed from your mom sitting in my back seat. So I thought, since I'm on my way home, I'll just drop it off because your place is in the area." And she smiled and held the book out at me. And I stared at her. "Thanks," I said, and took the book. "Okay, you're welcome. It was so great to see you. Have a good night," she said, still smiling, and turned around and left. I closed the door and went back inside and stared at my sister putting the book down. The next morning, we told my mom what had happened, and she laughed at us like we were crazy for thinking that it was so scary that some woman had come up to the house in the middle of the night, tapped on the window, and then handed us a book. But I still think about that woman, her face pressed up against the glass, tapping on the window in the middle of the night, to this day. So, that is the story of one of the weirdest encounters I've ever had in my life. Thank you.